Agenda item 1 is going to be the call to order, pledge of allegiance, and the pledge to the Texas flag. Feels funny with no students.
No, right? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Agenda item 2, let the record reflect we have a quorum. The following board members are present. Vice President, Mr. Aaron Braxton II, Secretary, Dr. Latoya Sizer, Board Member, Colonel Rebecca Zanate, Board Member, Mrs. Andrea Nicholas, and President, Mr. Willie White. The public comments, agenda item number 3. Board Policy BED Local sets out the requirements for public comments portion of a meeting. During regular board meetings, public comments may address any topic, whether posted on the agenda or not. During special call meetings or work sessions, public comments are limited to the items posted on the agenda only. To participate in public comment portion of a meeting, members of the public must sign their name on the sign-in sheet no later than 5 minutes before the meeting is scheduled to begin and shall indicate the topic about which they wish to speak. The sign-in sheet is placed on the podium in Professional Development Center located at 1908 Miners Road, San Antonio, Texas. A meeting of the Board of Trustees is a meeting of the board in the public, not a public meeting, which is to say that the audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the public comment section of the meeting. At all times during the meeting, the audience shall not enter into a discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board. During public comment, the board may furnish specific factual information or recite policy, but by law, the board should not deliberate or decide regardless of any subject that is not included on the agenda for the meeting, and any deliberation or decision by the board will occur during discussions of the agenda item and not during public comment. During regular board meetings, public comments may address any topic, whether posted on the agenda or not. During special call meetings or work sessions, public comments are limited to the items posted on the agenda only. In order to participate in the public comment portion of a meeting, members of the public must sign up with the presiding officer or designee no later than 5 minutes before the meeting is scheduled to begin and shall indicate the topic about which they wish to speak. Individuals may be given up to 3 minutes to speak during public comment. However, when necessary for effective meeting management or accommodate large numbers of individuals wishing to address the board, the presiding officer may make adjustments to the public comment procedures, including adjusting when public comments will occur during the meeting, reordering the agenda items, deferring the public comment on non-agenda items, continuing agenda items to a later meeting, providing an expanded opportunity for public comment, or adjusting the time allotted to each speaker. However, no individual shall be less than 1 minute per person to make public comment. A member of the public who addresses the board through a translator shall provide the translator. A member of the public who addresses the board through a translator must be given at least twice the amount of time as a member of the public who does not require a translator. The presiding officer or designee shall determine whether a person addressing the board has attempted to solve the matter administratively through resolution channels established by policy. If not, the person's presentation shall be halted and the person shall be referred to the appropriate policy to seek the resolution. DGBA employee comments, FNG student or parent comments, and GF public comments. There shall be no disruption of the meeting by board members of the audience. If after at least one warning from the presiding officer, an individual continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or action, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have them removed from the meeting, and once the individual is escorted off the premises, the person is not permitted to return during the meeting. Individuals with signs, props, or displays shall sit on the last row of the chairs or along the back wall as to not to interfere with the meeting or with the public observation of the meeting. During public comment, individuals shall not use the name of district employees or district students unless the student about whom they are speaking is a child of their own. Agenda item 4 is achievements and special recognition. Hmm? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. So we have 2 personnel signed up for public comments, and I have a Mrs. Cummings and a Mrs. Sherhart, correct? All right. Jennifer Cummings, ma'am, you're up.
Okay, thank you. I've spoken up before about the concerns with the leadership dynamic at the school. Rather than reflection or accountability, the response has often been defensiveness and unfortunately pettiness. Let's focus on the facts. Since the members of this board began voicing concerns, one staff member was effectively pushed out. Others have had their positions threatened, and now it appears that the PTO, the very group that consistently shows up for the school, is being targeted. For 8 years, we've used the PTO room to organize, store supplies, manage countless events and programs benefiting the school and the staff alike. On the second to the last day of school, I asked Fisher about our printer badges and was casually informed, "Oh, you lost your room." No prior notice, no discussion, just blindsided. When I asked what the alternatives were, she suggested we use the stage. We're talking about thousands of dollars in equipment, merchandise, and material, and that's not a solution. That's an eviction wrapped in passive aggression. I asked if this was a deliberate attempt to push us out. No answer. I asked who would fund the field trips. I got a shrug. After years of showing up, donating time, money, and energy with zero compensation, this was the response we're given. The stories I've heard, now lived experience, and the PTO is being iced out. Let's not pretend it's about space. If it was, the school wouldn't be signing a contract for a new playground claiming there's no room for students or the people who support them. And while we're on this subject, you're quick to talk about the amazing things that we do to guests using PTO's hard work to make the school look good. So let's remind you what we've done this year. We funded field trips, paid for petting zoos, bounce houses, class parties. We organized Fall Fest, fun run, movie night, house lunches, glow parties. We've popped popcorn every month for students and staff, given every student or every child a free book. Every new student and staff member receives a house shirt funded by the PTO. Provide teachers grants, class supplies, endless volunteer hours. We decorated, we supported, we showed up, we delivered. And now you expect us to run from my garage? What's the goal here? To make it so difficult that we walk away hoping the pushback silences? That's not gonna happen. And so here's what I suggest. Be honest with parents. Tell the parents why the PTO is being pushed out after years. Tell them why their children may miss out on field trips, events, books, popcorn, and because the leadership can't handle accountability, and you're retaliating against the PTO because of me. And since you believe the PTO is no longer needed, feel free to step in. You show up, you plan the events, you pop the popcorns, you haul the bounce houses, you fill the book vending machines, you plan the yearbook, you fund the field trips, you cover the teacher grants. And to be clear, I don't mean passing the burden to already overworked teachers. I mean you, the individuals making these decisions, the ones behind the doors, the ones pulling the strings. If you think this work is so easy to dismiss, try doing it yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Joe Sherhart.
The situation in our school district isn't just concerning, it's an active affront to the military families it purports to serve. Our school community feels closed off, a reality exaggerated by the persistent closed campus policy since COVID. Now the arbitrary requirement of a driver's license for entry with no clear purpose creates yet another barrier. This growing distance between the school, its parents, is perpetuated by the indefensible 11 a.m. board meetings, a time that deliberately excludes working families and military personnel. An alarming number of our community members have voiced their concerns, demanding change. Even your own board members have expressed their dismay, only to have their concerns swept under the rug. I see no indication of these critical issues on this month's agenda. This isn't governance, it's deliberate obstruction. to not even consider discussing a possible alternative time for board meetings, perhaps even every third meeting in the evening, or just 2 meetings throughout the year in the evening. It's outrageous. I feel like it's a simple request, and perhaps if your schedule can't allow for such basic accommodations, it's time for you to step aside and allow others who can fill that role for this district. Our community isn't merely concerned, we're actively voicing our outrage over the way this district is being run. It's incumbent upon this board to listen and to hold our district senior staff accountable. I'll be the first to formally request the board consider the immediate replacement of our district superintendent and the assistant superintendent. Their leadership is demonstrably failing our community, and more importantly, our children. They're no longer leading this district with our best interest at heart. I implore this board to reconsider the utterly unacceptable board meeting times and to finally reopen our campus and to foster genuine parent involvement. While leaders like Dr. Cerna champion and promote parent involvement, it's clear that others interim within this district, heavily influenced by its current leadership, seek to dismantle and remove it entirely. This is a battle for our future, of our children's education, and we won't be silenced. Our presence here today is crucial. We seek to be heard, to present our grievances, and to collaborate on solutions that generally serve our military families and our children. The time for dismissing our concerns is over, and we urge this board to listen, to engage, to take decisive action, and to address profound issues facing our district.
Thank you. Agenda item 4 is achievements and special recognition. Do we have any achievements, special recognition? No, none. Anybody? We'll move forward. Agenda item 5 is the superintendent's report.
Mr. President, board members, faculty, staff, parents, good morning. Folks, I put those memos in the packet. Any questions?
No question from me.
No questions.
Mhm. You got it.
Item 6.
Agenda item 5, superintendent's report. Did you have any other?
Nope.
I thought that's very nice.
They're all in your
It
packets.
is. Thank you. Agenda item 6 is the minutes from the regular business meeting of May 1st, 2025. Do we have a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the minutes from the regular business meeting of the Board of Trustees held on May 1, 2025 as submitted.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
I, Latoya Sizer.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
Aye, Willie White. Majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 7 is discussion and possible approval for the design for the new Fort Sam Houston ISD Administrative Office as presented by Claycomb Associates Architects. We have one guest speaker.
Cody, let's go. Y'all have the comment. Thank you.
Morning, Dr. Bates, and morning, President White and board members. Thank you again for this opportunity to be here this morning to present to y'all the design for the new central office building for Fort Sam Houston ISD. There's a process that started about 2 months ago with the district to talk about this project, and we're really excited about what we're going to bring forward to you today. So here, we're looking at the site plan part is where the location of the new central office is going to be located. The existing technology building is there, kind of on the north section there, hatched there. And then right adjacent to the existing technology building of the district would be the new central office building. So part of the site here, you see the existing parking lot there, so that existing parking will still be utilized even for the new central office building here. There's no additional parking that's required. And then as far as being able to make a connection between the existing technology building and the new administration building. We have some new sidewalks there, as well as a canopy connection there for the front entry. Here's just an overall floor plan of the new central office building here. So we have really kind of broken out into two sections here where we have the new board meeting space, and then also too the new office space for the district. Then right in between those two spaces would be some shared common spaces like the restrooms and the front entry and the waiting area, lobby area.
So when you say, can you go back one? So when you say the connection with the existing building, you're talking about like a breezeway between the two buildings, right?
Yeah, there'll be
It'll
like
have
a cover canopy.
cover
We'll have some
canopy.
renderings as well. Show some perspective images of what it's
Yeah,
done.
I can say a point. So
Yeah, we don't have a pointer, so I'm gonna do my best Ben
So I
White
was gonna-
impersonation.
Yeah.
So in here is the connection area between the two buildings. That's the technology building, and then this would be the new boardroom right here.
Yeah, this kind of enlarged plan of that area. Bo was just pointing out there. So you see the waiting area, that would be the main entry into the new central office area. There you go.
Thank you, Dan.
And that connection between the existing technology building, which you kind of see a little snippet there on the far right, that area will have a covered canopy connecting the two buildings there. But for visitors and attendees of the board meeting, they'll come through that main entry into that I call it corridor space, lobby space in front of the restrooms there, then access into the new boardroom there. The space that we're showing here is about 500 square feet more than the space that we're in currently right now. And it's going to seat up to about 75 people in the boardroom there.
And
And we're-
and can I add too, so that's how it's set up for board meetings. 90% of the time though, this room will be used for professional learning. Meetings that we have during the week with, when we're doing professional development with individuals. So you're seeing it set up as if for a board meeting, and then that conference room behind there, when the board goes into closed session, the board can go in there during board meetings, and then the people who are in the board meetings can stay in here.
What was the max capacity? Personnel, what's the max?
75?
75.
Yeah, it's designed for 75 people in there. And then like Ms. Novak was saying, is the space here can be arranged. We do have some storage there in the bottom left corner there. So tables can be stored in there. Then, as Ms. Novak was saying, during professional development or training, they can roll out the table, set it up, and have different configurations. We plan on having display screens on kind of around the walls too. So you have that, maintain that flexibility as far as the different setups that could be
Like a-
happening in that space.
Like stewardess person. There.
And then we have another entry just at the bottom there, just to the south of the conference room there, in case if you have meetings in the conference room, or if you're catering any kind of food or anything, another entrance into that area there. And there's a countertop and some base cabinets in that conference room that you can have things there. Go to the flip side here, so this would be the new office spaces for the district. Again, visitors and staff would be entering through that waiting area, so that's a secure vestibule there. So the ADASTL, that's really kind of like the front reception there. And what you see there is, it's actually a storefront, so there's glass there between the waiting and that reception area. So whoever's sitting there up front would have that visibility, be able to see who's coming in the building. Then even on that exterior wall, there's some windows there, so you have that visibility outside as well. Again, the staff will be able to share the same restrooms here. And then a lot of the offices are located around the perimeter, so they have access to exterior windows and natural light coming into those spaces. And then we have some interior offices as well, 5 of them there. And then what the intent is to have a door and side window there as well to allow some transparency, some visibility in those spaces too. possibly get some shared light coming from those exterior windows on those other spaces. And then in the back, there's a conference room and break room. So the break room has a door directly into the conference. So when the conferences aren't taking place and it's around lunchtime, that space could also be utilized as a break room as well to have lunch. But then there's also an outdoor covered patio as well. There could be some tables and chairs set up out there.
Okay, so I do have a question, and maybe I missed it somewhere, but some of the, I guess the identifiers I'm not familiar with. So over here, VCV, what does that mean? Or what is that identifying?
Which one is that?
Over here.
It's the vestibule walking into the restrooms. So you have like a little privacy vestibule as you walk into the men's room and the women's
Oh,
room.
yes.
And the C
And the
is
placement of
facility.
those restrooms there allows for office staff as well as anybody who would be in that boardroom / PDC room to use those restrooms. So there's just common restrooms that service both ends of the building.
So it's a vestibule, and the reason why the doors are offset is for sight lines going into the restroom. And so you have 2 doors going into each restroom, and then this is a custodial closet with a mop sink. Okay?
Yes.
I was like, good question.
Yeah.
What the heck is this VCV business?
Vestibule and custodial closet.
So, quick question then, so these are offices, not cubicles?
Yes, sir.
So there are 5 cubicles.
No,
in
we,
the
we,
center.
we changed that, sir, to offices, so, sorry.
Because I see doors and
Yes.
it's cut lines, so.
And that's one thing too, I'll mention too, yes, we're doing the design presentation too. I mean,
Things
we're able to
can
get the
change.
approval as we
Yeah.
continue to move forward in the project too. I mean, if there's some
Right.
small changes that we're needing to make or some tweaks, I mean, we certainly make those changes too. And some of these door locations too, Ms. Noda was talking about, it's like, well, we can shift them over in the wall. But for the most part, as far as today, just trying to make sure that as far as the design intent, as far as what we're showing y'all, that it have consensus as far as that approval.
Does this give us enough capacity for the staff we have?
Yes, ma'am.
So this pulls in people that are not currently?
Yes, ma'am, exactly. It pulls
Okay.
in two folks who are currently housed at the high school, one person currently housed, at the technology building, so.
Okay, so then that will free up that office
Yes,
space
ma'am.
for the high school
Yes,
to use?
and, yes.
And we do show one additional feature office as
Just,
well.
yeah.
Okay, so a little
Which
bit.
can also be used
Okay.
as meeting space or, small
Temporary.
meetings. Yes, ma'am.
Here's just a rendering image view of the front entry here. So the building to the left is the existing technology building, then to the right will be the new central office building. And as I was mentioning earlier, was that connecting canopy that will connect the 2 buildings there. And as far as the materials go, it'd be similar materials or similar color palette than what's already existing there on the technology building. So we have brick masonry on the lower band, but then we have a metal panel on the upper part of the building to match what's going on at the technology building. Again, just another view here, that front entry and that canopy. Then the windows on the exterior are where the offices are located, so just bringing natural light into those spaces here. Then the 2 windows in that waiting area, again, allows for that visibility for whoever's sitting at that front reception area to be able to see out as well. Just kind of circling around the building here. This is to the right side of the building again, just some exterior windows. Circling back around, this is that back patio area where the staff can come out for break area or lunch. And then the higher volume would be the boardroom. And again, you can see some of the connecting canopies there to provide some cover walkway to help kind of protect from the weather elements. Here's just a rendering of the interior of the boardroom. So this is set up kind of similar to what you have today, as far as the chairs all facing forward. You have a board desk that seats 10 total, and then the back wall there would be a large TV back there to do the presentations. Then on the side walls we have some additional displays. As discussed earlier, this flexibility of the space and the configuration for, you know, set up tables and have it set up to aid training for the district as well. And then we have just a digital kind of color palette here as far as some of the materials, as far as what we're proposing going into the building. And again, some of these colors could tweak a little bit even after today. Thank you all again.
And if I could provide just a little bit of background, so having central office across the street, down the street, has been in the district's master plan for over 20 years, to utilize that 25 acres over there. We have had an increase, and Dr. Sultan and both principals can confirm this, we've had such an increase with special ed students. Where they are right now at Cole, it's very cramped, they need more space. So it is logical then to move, to keep the kids all in this area, to move central office out and down the street, and then once this building is built, we then, these two buildings, this building and the next building are converted into classroom space, for Cole. So that's the push right now, is especially with our special ed. We want to keep the special ed kids as close to where they are now, where the nurses clinic is. So that potentially means some of those other classrooms moving over here, some of those programs. We're still working with Dr. Cern and his staff as to what that looks like. But bottom line is Cole needs additional instructional space. It is logical to keep those kids here on this campus and not across the street. Because somebody said, well, why don't we build extra classrooms across the street? Well, student safety, what happens when the weather's bad, you know, they're walking up and down the street. So I just wanted to provide that background for y'all.
Appreciate it. Question, I don't wanna assume, I wanna make sure, when you go back to the boardroom itself, those cabinets are permanent, where the desks are permanent, where the board members will be at, right?
Yes.
Won't be moved, anything, okay, 9 tables, I just wanna make sure. And what about acoustics and, acoustics, are you guys gonna, I know we may have different, company that provide the acoustics for filming and audio, but you are gonna prepare for that?
Yes.
Are y'all the ones that be doing that?
Well, we work with another company, but
I know it's
we've
another
already,
company. Yeah.
We wanna make sure that we've got the right audio and video in there for.
Built
yes,
for them,
yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. With microphones?
Yes, sir. Whatever that's gonna look like, yes.
Got it.
How long will the project take?
So we're looking at, if we're able to get the approval today, the next step would be going into construction documents. We plan on starting middle of June here, be complete with those about middle of September. And then after that, project will go out to bid. Jackson Construction, the construction manager, it's already been approved. And they're saying it's about 16 months for construction.
So early 2027 for completion. And then we would immediately start in here, because during this process, we'll be designing this, so that as soon as we're out, they can immediately start in here.
Tracking. Good deal.
And again, we're closely watching what's going on in the economy with tariffs, so.
Yeah, so we can definitely, at least plan for a spike in the cost
Well,
of materials.
so what's gonna happen today is we're requesting that you approve this basic layout.
Right, absolutely.
And then later, after all the construction documents are put together, Jackson, we will be bringing you the guaranteed maximum price for the construction manager at risk. So at that point, you'll see what the maximum price is for the project, and then you either say yes or no.
Now, I'm being very serious, the sooner the better, right? So we can
Yeah,
lock in those
right,
prices.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, they build contingencies in that, you
Okay.
know, so.
We're tracking. Thank you.
And some of the things that we'll be looking at during that process of the construction documents are that there are certain materials, certain, manufacturers that are being affected more by the tariffs or other things.
Mhm.
Then we're gonna be working closely with your construction manager to try to implement those things, again, to try to save time during that process. And then when it goes out to bid, how long is it gonna take to actually get, I'm gonna say HVAC equipment, because that's
comments, board members? Hearing none, do we have a motion, correction? Yeah, do we have a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I motion to approve what's the minutes? I motion to approve the design for the new FSHISD administrative office as presented by Claycomb Associates Architects.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I, Rebecca Salante.
Aaron Braxton, second.
I, Latoya Sykes.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
I, Willie White, majority vote, the motion passes. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8 is a presentation regarding strategic planning overview for the Fort Sam Houston ISD mission, vision, beliefs, and goals. This is no action required. Dr. Brennan will be presenting.
Howdy, y'all.
Hi.
Howdy.
Dr. Brennan, do you want to tell the board a little bit about yourself and how you came to be here? Yes,
with
ma'am,
us
I
today?
certainly will.
Mhm.
Good morning,
Good morning.
President White, Dr. Bates, esteemed board members, and good morning to y'all. I am Dr. Brennan. I work for the ESC Region 13. I'm a National Board Certified Strategic Planner. And I do this work across the state for the last 10 years. I am a retired educator, public schools for over 30 years. And my dear friends at Lackland ISD, and you'll see their video at the end, had me do their strategic plan about 3 or 4 years ago, and kept saying to Dr. Bates and Ms. Shitna, you need to do this with Dr. Brennan. And so finally I am here, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to tell you all about what we do and how we do it. So that was our introductions. First agenda item done. Woo! So let me tell you just a little bit about strategic planning, how we define it. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. When we come together as a community with a common purpose, we definitely can change the world and the lives of our children. So one of the things that we believe is in engaging our stakeholders, which means bringing in our community, our employers, our employees, our business partners, or even our students into this process, as well as some of our school board members. And so we work collaboratively to build this plan so that the voices of all are in that. And we come together around one thing: new possibilities for our kids. How can we help our children be ready for the future in this changing world? So we want you to have, when you're done, that you feel your voice was a part of this, and that we are going to overcome obstacles and discover new possibilities for our kiddos. That is the whole thing. I am all about kids, y'all. I've been doing this for 40-some years, so it is all about children and making the world better for them. So why? I mean, Fort Sam Houston's doing pretty well. So why do we need a strategic plan? Because every organization has a life cycle, just as I do. We're born, we grow, and we mature. Some of us mature more gracefully than others, right? But we do reach a time of what we call homeostasis. And what that means is everything's kind of going well. And we feel like, okay, let's just hang on to the way we're doing it because it's going well. Why change anything? Well, the world around us is changing. So while we're on the upswing, while things are going well, we want, oh, I just shut it down. Technology is my friend. If we don't change, we will decline because everything is changing around us. So what we want to do while we're doing well is to launch a new identity. So creating a strategic plan is not because, oh my gosh, things are so, we need to do something. No, things are going well. Let's figure out what more we can do for kids while we're on the upswing. That was quick, huh? Look, another check. So how do we go about doing this? And you do have a folder. That teal folder is got some flyers in it and also a little description of our process for you. What you see in the gray in your folder is the process that is included for everybody. No extras, this is just what we do. We do have some optional things that we do that will be an additional charge. We do a community meeting, if you would like, to gather input from your community. And we can do that in the evening and during the day, your choice, or a combination of that. And also, we also offer optionally some surveys that could go out to, anonymous surveys that go out. They're done through Qualtrics, which is an anonymous source, and you get a summary, but we do it by community, families, students, and staff, and you can look at the results. So what's included? The first thing we start with is a leadership team meeting where we look at student data and we do kind of a root cause analysis on what's going well, what's not, etc. That's about a half a day, and it's a work session. The next meeting that we have is a 2-day series. It's a community meeting. It's open to families, to staff, to students. A couple of board members wanted to attend that. That is where we could create the vision and the mission. If you want to do one, that would be included. If you just want to revitalize the vision and mission you have, we can do that. We also talk about the beliefs. What do we believe about education? What do we believe about kids and what we want for our children in our schools every day? And that meeting, we also set goals for the strategic plan at that meeting. So that is a 2-day meeting. There's everybody's voices are in the room. I have procedures and processes that make sure everyone is heard and everyone is able to contribute. After that, we go into what are called action planning meetings, and we take the goals that were set, the vision and mission that were set. We look at that landscape analysis that was done by the leadership team of where our current state is, and these action planning team is some of your district and campus employees that know how the district works, and they build a plan to get to the next level. That takes about 3 days of work. There's 2 separate meetings. But the consolidated meeting brings that steering committee back in, and they have a chance to hear the action steps that are going to be created. How are we going to do this work? And they have a chance to give input and ask questions and make sure they understand. At the end of that meeting, the plan is ready to come back to the school board for their approval and review. Nothing is a plan for this district until you all decide that that's what you want to do. I do come back in that actions to outcomes training. This plan is electronic. It is in a website where it can be adjusted and progress monitored. Every semester I come back twice included in this training, and we put in progress measure data, we update and adjust the plan, we create a PowerPoint for the school board that says this is what we've accomplished, this is what we're doing next semester, and we have a dashboard that is kind of our progress in a snapshot for you all. So you always feel like you know what's been done, you know the plan, but you know what's been done, what they're working on next, and what the progress is. I'm getting ready to go back into Lackland now, I think for my 5th or 6th time, and update their leadership team so that they can update their board. And we do that every semester. So that price of that gray, there's no extras for travel, there's no extras for copies, there's no extras for the price of materials went up. Everything is included that's in that gray. There are some extra things I want to call your attention to. There is a video that team at Region 13 comes in and does. I'm going to show you Lackland's video here at the end so you can see the quality of work that they're doing. They're a separate department than I am, so they would send a separate proposal to you all. Also, as it says down there, the biannual update. I come in at the beginning of every semester and work with your leadership team of your district. We go into the plan, we mark what we've done, we mark what we're going to do next. We create a PowerPoint presentation to update the board and update the dashboard. And so that I do every, like, I'm getting ready to go in August and September, and then I come back in January for the next semester. So you always have this, as progress data is coming in from both the state and from student data, you have an update and know what's going on. We also have an option where I can come back in and do an update for your community. Those are just optional things, so you're looking 4 or 5 years down the line, I'm here for you. I don't just hand you a booklet and walk away. So this is the meetings that are included. As I said, that steering committee is your chance to have some board input, but also to have your community involved so that they're really looking at making sure that this is reflecting their concerns, their needs, their viewpoints, as well as your staff and your students, which is a powerful, powerful thing to have in that meeting. We have those action planning teams meetings that are kind of limited to people who know how the district works. I do that because we don't want to be doing things we've already tried, and there's a lot of acronyms that get thrown around, RTI, MTSS, IEPs, etc. People that understand how the district works can really cut through some of that, but always bringing it back to the people who helped create that plan, that consolidated team, and then of course bringing it back to the board so you all are fully informed of what the plan is and have an opportunity then to adopt that as your district plan. But as I said, it is a website. The website is public, and there is a private part of that website which is the working part of it, but it's visible to your community to see. We base it on that current state, so we do start there looking at getting a lot of input. The surveys, of course, give us some of that. The community meetings can give us some of that. But then we also have the data that we can look at, your school, your student achievement data, because this is about kiddos. And we look at what are your strengths, what are your challenges, what are some opportunities that you have being here in San Antonio that perhaps are not a base, and then what are some of the threats that you're facing. And we build that plan in that goal to take us from where we are to what we want for our kids. For what we want for our kids. That vision that we have and those aspirational goals that we have for our kids. The overarching thing is our vision and mission and beliefs. Everything that we do has to align with what we believe, what our vision is. We will work in strands, which are focus areas. We will have goals that are measurable, and we will create strategies and 5 years of action steps to get us to that goal. I have on here fall of 25, probably not much that will happen then. We will be building the plan then. Spring is a crazy time of year for school districts. There's all the state testing still. State testing now, one big gulp, and then ending the year, starting a new year. Spring, we may have some steps in there, so it will probably go out to spring of 2031. But it will be a full 5-year plan. One of the things we work with is the effective district framework. I don't expect you to be experts in that. Unfortunately, my life makes me have to be very aware of the effective district framework. And let me just tell you that it is what the state of Texas, God bless them, is adopting for every district in the state of Texas. They are saying this is what every district should have. This is our language around improving district operations. And the one lever about organizational performance management is what I do. I make sure we have a vision, that we're acting according to that vision, that we have processes and procedures for continuous improvement. And so the strategic plan takes care of lever one. As we build our plan, we'll be looking at some of these other areas and trying to at least keep our language aligned with the state as this is brand new. They are just getting ready to launch it across the state. And I've been blessed to have been told I will now be a trainer in this for my region. So wish me a lot of luck. But if this is what the state is going to do, then we're just going to make sure that we're aligned so we don't go off in this direction and all of a sudden we have to change course. It covers a variety of things, and as we do our data dig, as we look at the needs of Fort Sam Houston, we'll align where we can. But we're going to meet the needs of your community. But I just wanted to let you be familiar with this. As we move through the process, you will become more familiar. I'll bring you copies, and we'll keep referring to this. Next steps. So what do we do next? We decide, you decide, what the scope of that contract's going to be. What do you want to include? What do you want to set aside? Your focus. We set dates for the strategic plan. It will take about 2 months to complete.
2 months to complete.
The strategic plan.
Just
The workshops and the things. But I'm flexible. I work for you. So I set my dates around what you need.
okay.
And then, of course, once we're done, we'll launch this process and get started. Oop, let's shut it off again. Are there any questions before I show you the video from Lacaland?
And so the goal is for today is to kind of, as Dr. Brennan has, she is giving you information that you'll be able to look at. There's no recommendation for approval at this board meeting. I'm going to bring it back in July for approval. And if there's any questions between now and that time, you can email myself or Dr. Shanetta, and then hopefully start this in August, September, when students, faculty, get everyone hired back, and so we can kind of lay the groundwork, start the foundation.
And if that happens, if we start in August or September, our goal would be to be done before Christmas. Working around holidays and not get into that time when we're testing and doing some of the other things. Any other questions for my esteemed board members? Well, let me show you, this is the video we created for Lackland ISD about 2 years ago.
So Lackland ISD is a small community. We're here on a military installation as part of JBSA San Antonio. We're one of 7 school districts across the country that are located entirely on a military installation, operating as an independent school district.
I am a former student here at Lackland ISD. I moved here when I was in 7th grade. And I loved it so much because of the welcoming environment for military students.
You kind of get the perks of having families come from all around the world, bringing that experience.
Our teachers work very hard to ensure that our students receive the best education possible. I initiated the strategic planning process because it was time. It was time to update our plans and make sure that we were in tune with what's going on with our school district.
Basically, we are trying to come up with a vision and a hope for these students and staff for the next 5 years.
It's really about coming together as a team to kind of look at next steps for the future. We're working together as a team with parents, staff members, and board members. And it's nice to have all those voices at the table to kind of get a true picture of where we can go based on the development and the work that we've done together as a team.
This is about continuing to improve and get better, capitalize on the potential that we have here at Lackland ISD.
They've done an exceptional job of building that roadmap for the future success of our district.
It was exciting to see all of our stakeholders involved and really providing good feedback and input into the process to bring together a great plan that's hopefully going to take us forward in the next 5 years.
I really came away with a sense that we're all working towards the same goals. We all want the best for our students. We want them to have engaging opportunities here. We want them to reach as far as they can go, and we want to create experiences that they will remember throughout their lives.
The vision is to ignite, empower, and excel.
I know that the vision we have is going to be the vision I believe in, and I think when you believe in something, you work harder for it.
It's about connecting with all of those people in the campus and the organization so that we can move forward to great things, and it helps guide our work every day.
Ignite really means to create the environment so that students and staff know that everything is possible.
We want to empower that effort to continue to do your best, to continue to achieve and continue to strive for excellence.
When I think about excelling, I want my students to leave knowing I have the skills necessary to do the best that I can do.
It's about being our best version as a community, as a district, as staff, and most importantly, as individuals.
5 years from now, when you come back to Lackland, you're going to see lots of success. You're going to see students who have a passion for learning, who are empowered.
Our goal as a result of this strategic plan is to ensure that we provide the tools, the resources, and the skills necessary for our students to be whatever they want to be in their lives.
My hope for this district is that we continue to get better. Just because something works doesn't mean you can't make it better. And that's what I love about this plan. That's what I love about this process. It's not just settling on what we have. When we know that there's potential to do more, we're not doing it for ourselves. What we're doing this for is for the students. It's so that they have a greater opportunity than we had in the past.
So Lackland ISD.
So the dream we have written down with a date becomes our goal. And we break a goal down into steps, it becomes a plan. But when we back that plan with action, that's what makes your dreams come true. Thank you very much, y'all.
I have a question for you.
Certainly, sir.
So when we look at, I understand that strategic planning is a 5-year process overall.
Yes, sir.
Track it. So developing the mission and vision statement, is the board the one that's gonna develop it, or will you be a facilitator of developing that?
Yes, oftentimes what I have done is develop that within your community steering committee so that your students, your staff, your families, and the 1 or 2 board members have an opportunity to have their voices in that. So it's a grassroots, and then it comes to you all for approval or adjusting or whatever you want to do. You don't want to do it that way, I mean, that's
The
okay.
mission, vision statement.
Yes, sir.
So everybody has buy-in, it's not
Right.
just the board, everybody has buy-in.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's the process that I've used
Okay.
across the state, and I'm open to however you wanna do it.
No, the collaboration is perfect. The collaboration is perfect. We already spoke about that. I was just wondering, you know, when we developing the mission vision, exactly what role the board
Yeah.
had, you know.
In
But
Lone
I'm
Star
tracking. I
governance,
understand.
it used to be that the board would do it.
Yeah.
And then when you got to the highest level of Lone Star governance, it was that the community was creating that and bringing that, and the board was adopting it. Now, Lone Star governance, I heard yesterday, is getting ready to go through a whole overhaul, so who knows where the state will go. But I think it's still good practice, I mean, my personal opinion, that it's good practice to have your voice of your community embracing and your staff embracing that vision, because they're the ones you want really enacting it. And I think it's powerful that way, but whatever you wanna do. Any other questions, Mr. White? Or
No,
anyone
ma'am,
else?
no.
I just have a quick question.
Yes, love.
Is when you come in the evaluations, like by semester, I mean, that's an opportunity to assess performance, but I'm assuming it's also an opportunity to reevaluate. And the plan should have we'll have the flexibility if we need to maneuver left or right, scratch something or redesign if necessary? Or is
Absolutely.
it locked?
Absolutely. What happens when I come in is we put in our progress data, because we don't wanna do things that aren't working.
Right.
So if you get 2 or 3 years down and things aren't working, why keep doing it just cause it's in writing? That's one of the beauties of it being electronic, is you can adjust it. And I'm working with a district that 2 or 3 years in, he had a complete overhaul of his leadership team. He lost 3 of his long-term people that had been there for years, and he replaced it with 1 person because of budget. And so all of a sudden, that changed, we had to shift that plan tremendously, because he didn't have the personnel to do what he had originally set out to do. So it's very flexible, and of course, that update to the board, you would always know how it had changed, and when they changed it down there, that drastically, he brought it back as an information item for them, so they would know why and how it was changing.
Thank you, fantastic, appreciate it.
Good, yeah.
Quick question. So how many folks are on your strategic planning team? Because I know you gotta do some preliminary work, right? You gotta pull data, you gotta,
Yep.
prepare this.
How many are on my team
Yeah, that
or
comes
on
in.
your team?
On your team that comes in to actually just use.
One is the loneliest number that could ever be. Yeah, it's me, myself, and I. But you may have already gotten the idea I'm a little bigger than life. But it is me that comes in and does this work. So I have a boss. If you don't like it, I'll give you her name and number. No, I won't. But you will be dealing with me so that it will always be consistent, for better or for worse. Anything else, y'all?
No, great presentation. Appreciate everything.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Oh, I'm stealing your cup.
Oh, thank you.
I got to be trusted.
All right. Agenda item number 8 is the monthly financial report for April 2025. 9, I'm sorry. Let me put my glasses back on. Agenda item 9 is the monthly financial report for April 2025. Any comments, board members? Do we have a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the monthly financial report for April 2025 as submitted.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
I, Latoya Sizer.
Hi, Rebecca Zimmerman.
Eric Braxton, second.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
Aye, Willie White. The majority vote, the motion passes. I keep my glasses over here, I can't, they're coming. Agenda item number 10 is the status report for Robert G. Cole, senior class of 2025. This is gonna be information only, no action is necessary.
Thank you all for letting me be here today. My name is Jessica Garza, and I'm the district lead counselor and the CCMR counselor at Cole High School. And so I wanted to share, Dr. Bates asked me to share some information about our graduating class of 25. So our enrollment with the class was 117. We had 117 students, met the graduation requirements, and we have 2 seniors who will be coming back for special education services, our 18+ program next year. So I gave a breakdown on the self-reported plans that our students had for after high school. We always have a strong population of students that go to college after high school. And so you can see that by our data numbers up there. 69% of our class will attend a 4-year college or university. I did add in the data for out-of-state in Texas because of our military population, a lot of students go home to go to college. And so we have 37% going home and then 62% staying in Texas for school.
Did we find a way of tracking our students? Because that's been a problem in the past.
So we do have access to the National Clearinghouse.
The National Clearinghouse.
Data. We do, not every institution that exists reports data to the National Clearinghouse, but the majority of institutions do. And so we do have data to kind of back up like what their self-reported plans are while they're still in high school. We do have a 14% that are going to community college. I do predict that is going to rise with the Alamo Promise program that has expanded that program to every Bexar County High School student that can go to community college for free. And so we do have 17 students taking advantage of that program for next year. We do have a few students going to vocational school, a few students enlisting in the Army, and then a few joining the workforce. I did want to give just a breakdown in trends for the past 3 years that we have. Like I said before, that strong percentage of students attending 4-year universities hasn't wavered in the past 3 years. And then since we've been collecting data on out-of-state and Texas schools for the past 2 years, you can see that it's still within those percentages of students going home to go to school and students remaining in Texas.
And the class population still hovers around 110 to 125-ish.
Yes, our class of 24 was 121 students. Our class this year was 117. The class of 23 was smaller. It was only like 77 students. Yeah. And so, yeah, but the percentages still kind of are steady among every opportunity after high school. Our scholarship data for the class of 25, we did have a total amount of $10,396,818. You can see the breakdown for private organizations where students received scholarship money, and then colleges and universities. Colleges and universities are increasing their amount of scholarship money to students because, it's business. They want students to come, and so our students do well in high school, and so they have a lot of opportunities that are given to them from colleges and universities. We did have 3 students that got ROTC scholarships from the Army that were to 9 universities. And then we had 4 military academy appointments, but that was for 3 students, so 1 student of the class did receive 2 appointments. And then this is the trends for scholarship data that we had. We have, in the last 2 years, increased our scholarship money tremendously from that class of 23. And our military academy appointments have also increased in the past 2 years. And so every class is going to have different dreams and goals for their future. And so it's just about making sure that they have every opportunity that they would like, and making sure that they get to those opportunities and having information. So that's all that I had for you guys. Do you have any questions for me?
I'd just like to share that, a lot of people think that, you can just apply for scholarships, but you're so dependent on the school and the school staff, from the principal to the counselors to the teachers. So when you see numbers up there, right, it's a reflection of the support that they're getting from the school personnel. And so I know that we appreciate, the school, personnel supporting our kids on submission of these scholarships because they're so dependent on the personnel at the school.
Yes, thank you.
So really appreciate that.
Yeah, we do our part. So have to make sure they get those opportunities.
Yes, because the variance between 24 and 25, you had 124 students in 24 and 117 in 25. If you look at the numbers, the scholarship amount, it goes with those numbers.
The amount of students that we have,
10.3
yeah.
and 11. So that's a good thing. We're on the right track with that.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Cool.
Always.
Appreciate it. Ready to start next year?
Yes. Something to work on.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Carter. Agenda item 11, the 2025-2026 Fort Sam Houston ISD Student Responsible Use Agreement for Technology Services. Yeah, it's annual.
Yes, this is an annual document. I brought to you the staff report last month to get approved, and after reviewing the data, we're bringing it to you this month. Typically do it in July, but that July board meeting is so close to school getting started, so I'm just asking for your approval on that so that we can get it to the necessary campuses as we get started with our students coming to that fall.
Sounds good. Any other questions, board members? Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the 2025-2026 Fort Sam Houston ISD Student Responsible Use Agreement for the Technology Resources as submitted.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
I, Aaron Braxton, the second.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
I, Rebecca Zimmerman.
I, Latoya Sizer.
Aye, Willie White. The majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 12 is the 2023 Texas Education Agency, TEA, accountability. No action needed.
You have to call.
We just wanted to bring you the results. They were released in April because this was held up by the lawsuits, and so we just wanted to share with them, that they were public with you now, and they're posted and everything. And we had the data since 2023, and we've acted on it. I mean, now we're on 2025, and so that's where we stand. We just wanted to let you know and be aware. Okay. Thank you.
Board members, any other comments? Hearing none. Is there a motion for this?
It's just
correction?
discussion.
It's discussion only. Glasses again. I apologize, that's all on me. Agenda item 13 is the Fort Sam Houston ISD initiated policy revision.
Good afternoon. I'm coming forward, the district is coming forward with 2 policy revision recommendations. And so I put in a memo and then I put the proposed revisions, if you have any questions about it. But the first one is EHDC local, which is alternative methods for earning credit by exam without prior instruction. So I'm gonna talk about that one first. In the legal policy and also local, it states that the board shall approve procedures by the superintendent or designee for kindergarten acceleration. Because remember, pre-K and kindergarten are not required in the state of Texas, okay? And so we felt like we needed to, because we are getting some requests, that we felt like we needed to come back and really make sure that those guidelines are very transparent and clear, because our parents do come from all over. Some go to a pre-K, some do not, some go to a kindergarten, some do not. And so when you've not had any prior instruction, you need to make sure that they have the knowledge to go into the next grade ahead of their age, and so on and so on. So what we did was we added the student must be enrolled in the district's kindergarten program for at least one grading period prior to the parent seeking acceleration to grade 1 for their student. In order for a parent to accelerate to grade 1, the campus acceleration committee, which you are required to have for any of this, composed of the principal, the school counselor, a kindergarten teacher, a first grade teacher, and the parent shall consider the relevant criteria and must unanimously approve the student's acceleration. And so we used most of the same guidelines that are for grade 1 we use for kindergarten. So you'll see the guidelines that we have approved, the board has approved years ago, and like all other school districts, to use the achievement test through Texas Tech. They have study guides going back as far as kindergarten. And so parents can, if they think their child needs to be accelerated, can start studying those. We will administer those readiness tests to them like we would in 1st through 5th grade. They must score, and that is legal policy, they must score an 80% on each of them in the 4 core in order to qualify. Then also must have recommendation of the student's district kindergarten teacher, because again, you cannot include preschool, because again, they might not have gone to preschool. So we know they're sitting in kindergarten, and we know they've been there for 1 grade period. So at least they have something. Chronological age and observed social and emotional development of the student, hence why the counselor is there, also the parent. And then also any other criteria. And so we felt like we needed to beef up this policy. We will also put this in our student handbook, because right now it just states that the superintendent comes up with the guidelines. And since we have all the guidelines for grades 1 through 12, we really feel like we need to have kindergarten in there. Okay? And so we are coming forward for that one. Are there any questions on FSHISD local?
So again, they have to be in kindergarten for 1 grading period.
Yes.
So,
or a parent can request.
So if they're coming from, like, I know they're young, but if their parents been homeschooling them in some curriculum, they still have to go through that.
Yes. And again, the parent has the opportunity also to submit what they have. So remember, when they come to us, they come with records or not, and some of them are homeschooled, they'll come with what they have.
And then they can
show. Yeah,
that doesn't.
So that'll be in their so-called what we call Q form, so we'll have that set.
Okay. I misunderstand. Okay.
The next one we're asking you to approve is FFAC local policy on wellness and health service medical treatment. And so what you see in that revision is only under medication provided by the district. And what we added was an excerpt on non-prescription medication. The district shall purchase certain non-prescription medications to administer to students in accordance with protocols established by the district's medical advisor, who must be licensed to practice medicine in the state of Texas. So every year we get what's called health clinic standing orders from the base. And what they require us to have on campus is, for example, Tylenol. What is the lotion you put on if you have cuts?
Neosporin.
Stuff like that. Benadryl, stuff like that, right? And in our current policy, you can't administer any of that. The parent needs to bring it up to you. And so, and also you must have parental consent, just like you would for anything else. And so, what we have had happen more and more, for example, is a child will have a fever. Of course, they have to go home, but because the fever is so high, the parent is on their way, but the parent says, well, can you give them Tylenol? Well, under our current policy, we couldn't. But if we followed the health clinic standing orders, we would have Tylenol there. We have the parent permission, because we'll also already have a form plus the verbal, and then we can give them the 2 Tylenol surgical. And so things like that. And so we have, the nurse is what brought this to our attention. And so I met with her, ran it through Ms. Novak's side of the house, and we would like to propose this change to the policy to take care of our kiddos. So those are 2 policies that we are requesting board approval for.
And of course, the nurse would still be the one
Oh, yeah.
who would utilize those
So he
non-prescription. No one else.
designates you, and it is the nurses.
It's just the nurses.
That's all I have.
Any other comments, women?
I do have 2. One being
fiscally responsible when it comes to being able to purchase these things? Are we able to sustain this? And then you said we are going to have something in place where the parent is just gonna be something like when they enroll, they just sign this
Yeah, so there's
blanket
a
thing
form
to
in
say
their,
we give them?
yeah, there's a form in their packet that they have to sign, but also when this happens, the nurse is communicating to the parent on top of already having the form on file. It'll also be placed in the student handbook.
Any other comments, board members? Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the Port Sam Houston ISD initiated policy revision affecting the following local policies: EHDC local, alternative methods for earning credit, credit by examination without prior instruction, and FFAC local, wellness and health services medical treatment.
Is there a second?
My second.
All in favor?
Latoya Sizer.
Rebecca Smith.
Aaron Bryson, second.
I, Andrew Nicholas.
I, Willie White, majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 14 is the interlocal agreement between the University of Texas at Austin on-ramps program and Fort Sam Houston ISD.
That's our annual, our partnership with,
She good. Board members, do y'all have any questions for this annual? No? Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the interlocal agreement between the University of Texas at Austin and FSHISD for the 2025-2026 on-ramps program as submitted.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
I, Rebecca Smith.
Aaron Bryson, the second.
I, Andrew Nicholas.
I, Latoya Sizer.
I, Willie White, the majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 15 is to consider and take possible action to approve the new staff position.
Yes, Dr. Shannon, you have the call.
So in your packet, there was a justification form for, another acronym, ECSE teacher, which stands for Early Childhood Special Education Teacher. Due to the numbers, and I think the form is pretty self-explanatory. If you do have any questions, I do have Dr. Sultan and Ms. Fisher here. We have found a location for the room, and so on and so on, but our needs are high. And so I think that was pretty clear in the justification form.
So currently we have one sped ed teacher and 5 para educators.
Dr. Sultan?
Oh.
Special education.
Yes, sorry about that.
I know a little bit.
Yes, right now the classroom has 21 students with one certified special education teacher and 5 paraeducators. And those 5 paraeducators, 3 of them are assigned one-on-one to the students with their needs that the students we have currently enrolled in our setting. So not just the classroom side, so the physical layout and the need of the students. That's why the request is for your approval.
You said 21 students?
Yes, sir.
Based off in last year? What do we,
So students that come in, the ECSE students, all the students that are in the ECSE classroom are residing, are resident students of the same.
track it. Any other comments, board members?
3 and 4-year-olds.
We-
That's what makes your early childhood special education classroom. The little ones.
Okay. Board members, do we have a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I strongly recommend approving the creation of the following new staff position, early childhood special education teacher.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
I, Aaron Bryson, the second.
I, Andrew Nicholas.
I, Rebecca Smith.
I, Latoya Sizer.
I, Willie White, the majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 16 is the T-test alternate appraisers.
Folks, you have the list in your package. Are there any questions?
Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the list of T-test alternate appraisers for the 2025-2026 school year as submitted.
Is there a second? All in favor?
I, Latoya Sizer.
Aaron Braxton is second.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
Aye, Willie White. The majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 17 is the contracting for services with the Education Service Center Region 20 for the 2025-2026 school year.
This is something we do annually. If you looked in if you have your packet, you see the list of contracted services, and I think we've changed a few of them overall to fit the district campuses. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Region 20, I do want to give them a shout out. They have been very instrumental in helping this district move forward in terms of their services, their field service agents, everything from curriculum to special ed. They've been a very big supporter of Fort Sam, and they have been very helpful in our day-to-day operations.
Any other comments, board members? Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the contracting for services with the Education Service Center, Region 20 for the 2025-2026 school year as submitted.
Is there a second? All in favor?
I, Latoya Sizer.
Aaron Braxton is second.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
Aye, Willie White. Majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 18 is the memorandum of understanding with the Berry County Juvenile Board for the year for 2025-2026 school year.
Another annual thing we do. Ms. Novak, do you have anything to add?
It's something we don't use very often. If we do, we bring a budget amendment to you. Have we ever used it? Once in my 15 years here.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
So most school districts, so there's like when you look at the board report, the expenses are broken out by those functions, 11, 12, 13, so forth. Every school district I've worked in before automatically budgets money in function 95, which is for the JJAP. We don't.
Right.
Because once in my 15 years here, we've had to do that. So, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Very, very, very good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any other comments? Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the MOU with the Bear County Juvenile Board for the 2025-26 school year as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aaron Braxton is second.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
I, Latoya Sizer.
Aye, Willie White. Majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 19 is the legal service retainer agreement and fee schedule for Walsh, Gallegos, Trevino, Coward, and Robinson, PC. Comments? Hearing none, is there a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, I recommend approving the legal services retainer agreement and fee schedule for Walsh, Gallegos, Trevino, Kyle, and Robinson PCS submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I, Latoya Sizer.
Aaron Braxton is second.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
Aye, Willie White. Majority vote, motion passes. Agenda item number 20, consideration and possible approval to schedule a board meeting on either 10 or 11 July. June. Correction.
Ms. Novak, do you want to go into that?
Yes, so the legislature recently adjourned. We've got information about what we need to do with our teachers' salaries. We don't have another board meeting until July 31st. So we will be doing hiring, those type of things during the summer. We want to make sure that we can tell our new hire teachers what we will be bringing them at. My plan for this meeting is to bring you the salary schedules, which would also include, we want to do raises for all staff, in particular our auxiliary staff, which is our child nutrition, transportation, facilities folks. But again, across the board, we want to do raises. We look very closely, TASB, Texas Association of School Boards, does a salary survey every fall.
We looked very closely at the Bexar County schools to ensure we have market competitiveness. I will not be bringing the entire compensation plan to you. What I just want to bring is the salary scales, so that people can see what our minimums for the other staff, they can see what the minimums are, and then the teachers, the teachers are on there by steps. For districts our size, which are 5,000 and below, the state legislature has mandated that for teachers with 5 or more experience, we must give them an $8,000 a year raise, which comes to about, across the board, about a 12% raise. Teachers with 4 to 5 years experience, we are required to give them, I think it's a $5,000 a year raise. Obviously, we want to do something for the other steps as well. We don't want to leave out steps 0, 1, and 2, obviously. There is a small pot of money for raises for other staff, but again, we especially want to look at our auxiliary staff, our paraeducators, who we cannot function without in our district. So we'll bring you the scales only. The compensation plan, when we bring that at July 31st, when we do the budget adoption, that will include things like, are we going to be increasing our health insurance rates? We literally just 2 days ago found out health insurance rates are going up about 9%. So can we do something within our budget to increase our employer contribution? We also, in the compensation plan, is stipends, that work that teachers do above and beyond. Some of those substitute rates, some of those things, again, to ensure market competitiveness. So that's the plan, is to bring you the salary schedules only, which, dictate the hiring scales. And then we will bring the raises and that over to you at the July 31st meeting in the compensation plan.
The governor did sign that HB2, 2 days ago?
We did sign it.
So, districts they're happy, but we still got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
Very long ways to go. As Ms. Novak and I, we had this discussion. You think about it, I called her in my office and I said, Ms. Novak, educate me. How's a facilities or auxiliary family of 3 going to be able to support in terms of healthcare? You look at the scales, and even at the lowest level, it's pretty high. So,
Because the least expensive plan, though, is the high deductible plan.
Yeah.
So, do you have money set aside for those high deductibles? Yeah. And then we look at too, what's happened with our insurance costs. Yes, they gave this little pot of money called the ABC allotment, which is for that. But you look at since 2019 through today, our insurance is probably almost double what we have to pay. So again, it was a step in the right direction.
leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that.
Well, it's moving in the right direction, so that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It is. It needed to happen.
Absolutely, because
It
they
needed to
could have
happen.
done nothing.
Okay, but to the question that's being asked is to have a board meeting for next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Me personally, I fully support, but it has to be in the evening or late afternoon.
Quick term.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? And
I say, what time?
are you available for 10th or 11th of the day?
So I'm not on the 10th. I have.
I'm not on the
Not on the 10th?
Okay.
On the 10th?
I'm not on the 10th.
11th, I'm
So the
sorry.
11th? No?
You did 11, but it has to be late afternoon or early evening.
Got it. So you go for the 11th?
In the evening.
Yeah, in the evening.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna be looking at the 11th.
Yes, sir.
And then we're looking at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Might as well, what works best?
I'm flexible. I'm available all day.
I need 5.
Yes. 5? Okay, 5. 5. You shook your head, yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So that's 5. All right, awesome, good deal. Having stated, board members, do we have a motion for this agenda item?
Mr. President, recommend holding a board meeting at 5 p.m. on June 11, 2025 to consider and possibly approve updated and more competitive salary schedules for the 2025-26 school year.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
I, Latoya Sizer.
Aaron Braxton, second.
Rebecca Simmons.
I, Andrea Nicholas.
Aye, Willie White. Majority vote, the motion passes. Agenda item 21, it's a closed meeting that's authorized by the Texas Government Code, section 551.074. The time is now 12:30 p.m. We're moving to closed session.